So I would like to call upon Mr. Sudhir Agarwal, co-chair WS. So he'll be briefing about yesterday's session in a simple manner. Please come, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. If I have to just sum what we all had seen yesterday, I'll just say it this way. The global leaders touched based on the current status, future roadmap, and the opportunities in the domain of digitization, decarbonization, asset management, keeping pace with the prioritized investment and the use of advanced technologies. Further, as the system grows, the tasks which are necessary would increase as the infrastructure would increase, and the necessary resources which would be required would be less. So what is the solution which we had discussed was digitization and automation will definitely help in prioritization of these tasks and would require to be integrated with the help of AI and ML capabilities built by the corporate knowledge and the experiences. This would allow us to utilize our resources for innovation and redefine corporate management and philosophies. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudhir sir, for briefing about yesterday's session. So I would like to call upon Mr. Sanjay Banga, President T&D, Tata Power and Company. Mr. Banga led the transmission and distribution cluster at Tata Power and is responsible for the growth of 8 companies. Mr. Banga, with more than 3 decades of experience in power generation, transmission, and distribution business, brings with him expertise in power sector covering areas of business development, operations, and maintenance, project management, technology, and utility business process, re-engineering, and regulatory advocacy. We welcome you, sir. The moderator for today's session is Ms. Apurva Chaturvedi. Apurva Chaturvedi is Senior Clean Energy Specialist in USAID India. She has over 2 decades of experience in clean energy and power sector. Mrs. Chaturvedi is currently leading the Smart Grid Distribution Reform and Energy Efficiency portfolio of USAID Clean Energy Program in India. We welcome you, ma'am. The next speaker is Mr. Ajay Rawat. Mr. Ajay Rawat has more than 15 years of qualitative experience in consulting, research, and project management. Mr. Rawat currently leads modernization of utility under SAREP, which includes smart metering, implementation, and data analytics, deployment of AI/ML and blockchain technologies, strengthening planning and operation capacity and transmission and utilities, advanced technologies, and smart grid. We welcome you, sir. Now we welcome Mr. Vikas Diwan. Mr. Vikas Diwan, BSc Engineering in EEE and MBA is a techno-commercial and management professional with 35 years of diversified experience in Bangladesh power sector. He has received many technical and managerial training from local and international training institutions. Mr. Diwan presently is Managing Director of Dhaka Power Distribution Company Limited. His main aim is current assignment of DPDC is to accelerate in electricity business and turning around most of business and operation parameters towards multi-location transmission and distribution operation. We welcome you, sir. The next speaker is Mr. R.P. Singh, Senior Vice President, Smart Energy Water. Mr. R.P. Singh has 2 decades of experience of building and capacity, running organizational business, driving cloud first and mobile first strategy of company. Prior to heading SEW, he worked at IBM, Microsoft, Cisco, SAP, Airtel. Mr. R.P. Singh has been instrumental in transformational projects in India in utilities, e-governance, infrastructure, urban development, railway, defense, and state government. We welcome you, sir. The next speaker is Mr. Sumed. Sumed leads utility modernization and advanced technologies engagement in SAREP, Deputy Chief of Party. Sumed has 20 years of experience in sustainability, clean energy, and innovation with utilities in Middle East, North America, Asia Pacific in advising corporates, governments, energy providers, investors. We welcome you, sir. The next speaker is Mr. Thorsten Corners. He is the Director of Trade Division at Stadtwerk Leipzig and responsible for energy trade with electricity, gas, and CO2 and for the procurement of district heating and oil. He is an energy management expert and has been working both domestically and internationally at various companies and in various positions since 1990. As a Managing Director of International Centrum, his role was principally that of an advisor at European Union in matters of energy management and planning. We welcome you, sir. And last but not the least, Mr. Gopal Naria. Mr. Gopal Naria. Is he here? Mr. Gopal Naria, he is the BE in Electrical Engineering from North Gujarat University. Currently, he is the head power project monitoring at BSES. We welcome you, sir. I now hand over the mic to Apurva Chaturvedi. Over to you.
Thank you, Saad. A very good morning to all of you. Namaskar. And very kindly, Saad has already introduced all the distinguished panelists. A very warm welcome to you as well. As a moderator, my job is the easiest here. And I will leave it to all the expert panelists here to obviously share their experiences from within their organization that they lead, but also from the vast experience they have gathered in all their career and years together with all of you who are sitting here. With that, just wanted to say, this whole topic that we have for the theme in terms of the utilities of the future. If we look at the 3 Ds, and which is, I think, digitalization, decentralization, and decarbonization, and the way the power sector paradigm is changing, the distribution utilities particularly, their modernization becomes very, very critical as they are the last mile, you would say, the connection between the electricity sector and the consumer. And therefore, a very healthy, viable, and efficient utility is very, very critical for supplying reliable and quality power to all the consumers. But as I said, with the way things are changing, with more distributed load coming in, new loads coming in, the way renewables are getting injected, all these things are making the utilities to rethink about how they will have to customize and change the way they are working right now, how to upgrade their infrastructure, modernize their infrastructure, even their business processes in order to cope with these changes and transit to a more utility of the future. And in doing so, of course, there are many elements to get going to in order to achieve the utilities of the future kind of a scenario. But technology adoption becomes one of the key critical areas that needs to be adopted by the utilities in order to get to that goal of a future-ready utility and to kind of acclimatize to the changing scenario that they have to face as they are, the things are changing so rapidly in this sector. So today's theme is all about adoption of technologies and how that can lead to the transformation of utilities. And with that, I will hand over to Ajay, who's leading the utilities vertical with the USAID South Asia Regional Energy Partnership, in short, SARIP program, and has already been introduced by Saad very kindly. So over to you, Ajay, to lay the context of why advanced technologies are critical, what do they mean, and how utilities can really get on to that path. Ajay.
It's been a privilege to be among a very eminent list of panelists and participants today. I'll briefly take you through, what we understand from advanced technologies, what are the latest trends in the utilities transition, who are the core performers and the other performers, let's say if we divide into 2 sets, and how adoption of advanced technologies is impacting the utility transition. So as we see, there could be, multiple building blocks for advanced technologies. As we understand is, it could be advanced, devices in terms of sensor, actuators, communication technologies. Now, we have 5G cellular network, which is very efficient, radio frequency network. So that is another set of technologies. Information technologies, of course, the IT system, which is the infrastructure, hardware, software, and databases. These are the, building blocks. And then when we talk about AI, ML, and blockchain technologies, so how these building blocks contribute towards the development of certain applications, which are, in specific cases, we can utilize for distribution utilities. As we see, this is a trend that we see from different utilities survey. So it's basically an IBM survey which was done for 240 utilities across globe, and on the see the blue line that you can see is the adoption of different technologies by the top performers, and red line is the other utilities. So top 70 percentile basically is the blue line, and you see that increasingly they are having more and more technology adoption, be it in terms of IoT sensor and applications for different applications, which could be asset and equipment monitoring, or maybe for advanced AI ML applications, which could be for cognitive and prescriptive analytics. Moving forward, when we look at the digitization of grid operation and integrating DRs, again we see a lot of adoption is happening at the core performers level, and the others are following. But we see there is an increasing trend towards the adoption for these technologies. Similarly, technologies which are consumer facing, that again we see a lot of adoption is happening at the core performance level, and the other set is following. Now, how does this technology adoption impacts the overall performance of the utility? This is, I would not say it's a causal relationship, but to our understanding, this is how we can infer that overall for the top performers, the gross margins are higher, and their cost per employee is also reducing. So if we look at the distribution utilities, we have three concentric circles here. At the center, we have the distribution utilities, their own setup, organization structure. At the intermediate circle, you'll see the network asset monitoring and operations. So what are the concerns at this level? It could be related to integration and digitization of communication technologies, and certain other issues related to manual operations, cybersecurity, asset health management, and the like. Similarly, at the consumer level, which is the outside circle, how utility interface with the consumers. This is where they have a lot of concerns related to distributed energy resources, how to manage that prosumers efficiently. So those kind of concerns they have. Again, what are the technologies? Again, when we pool these technologies or applications into two sets, one is of course the network asset monitoring and operation set, which was the intermediate circle that I shown in the previous slide. And the other set is the consumer focused application. So these are some set of technologies just to give certain thoughts to the speakers today so that we can have a very good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay, for laying what are advanced technologies for the distribution utilities particularly, and how they can impact the utilities as they modernize themselves and upgrade themselves. With that, I would like to request Mr. Sanjay Bagra, President, Transmission and Distribution, Tata Power Company Limited, to deliver the keynote address. Sanjay ji.
Thank you, Apurva. Senior panelist on the dais. Dear friends, let me first thank the organizing committee of Elecrama for inviting me here and providing me this opportunity to share thoughts on very important topic, very important topic, and very close to my heart, because when I entered in distribution sector, my first job was of a CTO, and my job was to infuse technology in Tata Power Delhi Distribution Limited so that there is to be less and less reliance on human intervention, because this sector is not in good shape, and it is not in good shape because the technologies still have not been used to an extent should be used. We deploy technologies in the Tata Power Delhi, all kind of technologies, right from SCADA, DMS, GIS, billing, ERP, taking it further to smart metering, data analytics. And today this company is in top 20 companies, not in India, but across the globe, well certified by Singapore Light and Power as the most advanced, technologically advanced distribution utility. But if I take Tata Power, And Tata Power manages distribution in Mumbai, we manage distribution in Delhi, we manage distribution in Ajmer. In last 2 years, we are managing distribution in Odisha. The reliability parameters in Mumbai is 3 minutes outage. Reliability parameters in Delhi is 30 minutes outage. Reliability parameters in Odisha is 30 days outage. That's the kind of variation in reliability which we see across these distribution companies. And this is primarily because the kind of technologies which we are using in Mumbai, the kind of technologies which we are using in Delhi are very different from the kind of technologies which are using in Odisha. And the stage of their deployment also. So if I start justifying technologies are required for performance, I think more important for me is to give you an overall idea that how I see distribution companies in India going forward. And this is important because at this stage I see perhaps we are witnessing highest tariff in India. Because going forward, the tariff for all consumer will be moving southward. And this is because the energy mix in India is changing. Today, if we see 75 to 70% of energy is still supplied by fossil fuels, coal is still predominant. And if India has to meet its target of 500 gigawatt in next 1 decade, and presently we are installing around 10 gigawatt every year, and this speed of 500 gigawatt, the target of 500 gigawatt will require at least 40 to 50 gigawatt of installation in next 8 years. So from 10 gigawatt, we expect the investment has to go up to 50 gigawatt every year in next 8 years. And to meet this requirement, the proportionate expenditure is going to be there in transmission sector. The kind of RPO target which has been set by MOP, the energy mix which we expect in 2030 would be around 20% from coal. There has to be substantial portion of renewable which is going to come at a cost which will be much less than the coal cost. So the total energy mix cost will be less, but because of this infirm power of renewable, there will be tremendous use of technologies to ensure grid stability. Increasingly, I am finding queries from industries which they say that, can you supply us power? Because the tariff is not what they want. Because if we see, the power procurement or the power generation cost today is around 4 rupees. The industry pays around 10 to 11 rupees. So if we consider that the delivery of this power cost is around 2 rupees, then it actually should not be more than 6 rupees. But because of the other reasons and because of the losses in the distribution companies, the industries are paying around 12 rupees. And at 12 rupees cost, it is considered that if we really want to have India as a Atmanirbhar Bharat India, this cost has to come down. And I very strongly feel this cost is going to come down in next 10 years. And there, the use of technologies is going to be very, very high, very, very high. For example, if we see Indian scenario right now, most of the distribution companies are actually not using even the basic technologies which are required. And when we see basic technology in a distribution system means, you should plan your network using technologies. You should have your complete asset mappings by using some technology tools. You should monitor your network very well by technologies. And you should manage your outages very well by technologies. So every distribution utility should have a network planning tool. Our observation in last 2 years in Odisha, we find that 11 kV feeder goes as long as 60 to 70 kilometers. 33 kV feeder goes as long as 130, 140 kilometers. And where distribution is placed, distribution transformer is to be placed, is not decided by software application. It's decided by which MLA is strong. Because he wants that distribution transformer in his area. So entire network has not been designed by using technology, it is designed by some other consideration, and because of that, you find at many points the voltage is low. There are meetings at ministerial level where the discussion is how to remove low voltage issues in Odisha. And my colleague, I think Shen, would be here and will be talking about that. The first technology which is required by any distribution utility is to know where your network is geographically. If we don't have that, then the network planning cannot be done properly. Today in Tata Power Delhi, we design network using a technology used on GIS. The connection is given instantly, instant connection, because the system has a knowledge of distribution transformer loading. System knows this customer is belonging to which transformer. System knows that the transformer is overloaded or not. And even if it is overloaded, in summer and winter it is not overloaded, we provide instant connection because no, by next summer we will replace that transformer. That's the basic use of technology, the GIS system, the network planning system, to be used for all planning tools, which is not used by most of the distribution utilities I found in India. The second is, if you ask any distribution utility in India, the reliability parameters are not reliable, because the network monitoring is not done by basic SCADA system. Government of India tried to push in 2012 in APDRP. Most of the SCADA systems were placed, but they are not still being used. We strongly leverage technologies in Tata Power. Both in Mumbai and Delhi and in Odisha, all 4 distribution companies now started using SCADA system. In central Odisha, which we took 2 years back, almost 30% of their stations are already substation automation has been done, are controlled from the SCADA system. Entire monitoring of reliability is used by system data, not by the manual data. Unfortunately, our regulators have never pushed distribution companies to provide these data by system, not by manual intervention. I think this is where the regulator has a role to play, where they should push distribution utilities that they should use SCADA DMS system, they should do OMS system, and the reliability parameter is to be submitted, which are generated automatically, not by manual intervention. The last piece is the consumer technologies. The great scheme by Ministry of Power for smart metering, I only expect that this will bring lot of cultural change in distribution companies and provide data which can be used by distribution utilities, not in one way or other, but many ways. They can use this smart metering data for optimizing their capex by doing load balancing. They can use this smart meter data for OPEX management, where the entire billing correction issues are resolved. The more important, they can use this data for load forecasting point of view, because the energy mix, as I mentioned, is going to change. But if this data is not used properly, then I think we are not doing the right justice to smart metering, because smart metering is world over has not been used only for loss reduction. But unfortunately, in our case, the distribution utility is mainly implementing smart metering for loss reduction, and my suggestion would be, please use it fully. If a distribution utility has a smart meter, the call center cost should come down by 90%, because a smart meter tells you that customer has power or he doesn't have power. Can I connecting my smart metering system to the call center and you leveraging this information? Can I connecting my smart meter data to my GIS system and ensuring my network is properly balanced and I am reducing my technical losses or they are not? Unless these all technologies are seen properly, and that is where I come to my last point, that each distribution utility, it is extremely important to have a technology roadmap. Because these technologies, if implemented in isolation, yields no result. 2012 APDRP we have seen. These technologies were imposed on distribution companies without telling them what is going to be the impact of these technologies, how it is going to change in their processes. Each distribution utility should know how it is going to operate when all these technologies are there, how how their processes are going to be redefined. There is a need to have a technology team much, much bigger than presently what we have in distribution company. There is need to be a team to ensure that how the change management is to be ensured, because all your processes are going to be changed. Once you have a smart metering, reading, billing, collection group is is not at all required. You need to have a different planning group and analysis group who will be using smart meter data and telling you which DT is having more losses, which DT is having losses, which consumer has which kind of consumer consumption profile, how it is to be. So the need of new departments is going to be there, the need of earlier departments will not be there. And that is where the entire company need to think of this change management, which is very, very important. So while the technology will yield benefits, extremely important is how utility is seeing the bigger picture of process changes and leveraging these technologies, because these technologies will get you benefit only if you are intelligent. Smart technologies without smartness on our part will not yield any results. I will close my session here. Thank you very much, and I look forward to other candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bangra. I think that what your remarks really highlighted a few very key pertinent points for the utilities. What you said was that, how technology, a holistic technology roadmap is very important for the utilities to design and not look at utilities in technologies in isolation, plus, minus, here, there, and how technology adoption can then actually drive change management within the utilities, the way they operate, the way they transform their businesses as they move towards, transition towards utilities of the future. And one thing that you very clearly laid out, that network planning is the fundamental for DISCOMs, and therefore needs to be done in a much more robust manner using technologies as far as possible, and not just on various factors which are not really evidence-based or technology-based, but things which just happen and which is the reality that needs to change. The role of regulators, again, is very, very critical, so that they can push the utilities to generate the kind of data which is useful for their planning purpose. Consumer centricity, again, is something that you highlighted, again, a very, very critical thing. And what you really pointed out in terms of smart meters is really something that resonates my heart as well, that smart meters should be seen only as enablers to actually move to the next paradigm. They are not just a way for loss reduction, but when we start using smart meters smartly and using different functionalities, that's where the real value proposition of smart meters would come. So with that, I will now thank you so much, Mr. Banga, for your keynote address. I would now go towards the plenary session with the first speaker, Mr. Vikas Diwan, who's the Managing Director for Dhaka Power Distribution Company. And perhaps, you will give your insights into what Dhaka Power Company is really into. Thank you.
I think the presentation is now in okay. The slide. Okay. Thank you. Distinguished speakers, audiences, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure to say something about this impressive accomplishment of the utility and power distribution industries. Similarly in Bangladesh has transformed dramatically, overcoming the numerous challenges to become a shining example how a country can achieve rapid growth in development. Let's see some challenges. As challenges is now playing a big role, power distribution companies face several challenges in providing consumers and reliable and affordable electricity. Here's some major challenges. I will not just read all those. Please see those. Mostly what I should say is that it is the demand side management. And let's look at how we can be look in the future. So what we have already told, Mr. Ajoy has already given a very good example of those. I will not go on this way, only my slide says everything. Existing and future power distribution utility companies are likely to differ significantly in several ways. Some of the primary obstacles that an organization can overcome include self-managed demand, responsive smart building, distributed variable sustainable resources, secure self-healing, self-optimizing grid, etc. So all these will result in a unidirectional power distribution from centralized bulk generation. So moreover, some of the key areas attention for utilities of the future are seamless, renewable, and DER integration, improved reliability, power supply, cost efficiency, customer-centric business model, digital interaction with customer, and of course, cyber security. So there are several groundbreaking technologies on the horizon for future power distribution utility companies, some of which are already being developed and implemented. For example, we have battery storage, or energy storage, distribution generation, plug-in electric vehicles, cloud computing, etc. And definitely the artificial intelligence and the machine learning and networking connectivity and the cyber security now playing a great role in this area. So here is a slide, how to become a digital utility of future. Actually, becoming a digital utility of future requires a strategic and holistic approach that involves integrating technology into every aspect of your business. It is a continuous process of making a series of business transformation aimed at digitalization with customer centricity as a guiding philosophy. So, for the utility of future, it would also be important to identify innovative business models that not only provide new revenue streams, but also help in creating value to customers, enterprise, and all the other key stakeholders in the power value chain. So how to embrace change and become the utility of the future? The first step should start with developing a digital strategy, followed by investing in digital infrastructure like AI, implementing smart grid technologies, and lastly, engaging customers digitally. Overall, becoming a digital utility of the future requires a willingness to embrace change, invest in new technologies, and adopt a customer-centric approach. By doing this, utilities can position themselves to thrive in increasingly digital world. So what is we are facing in our utility, actually transformation, people. So how we can make them learn, it is the main issue for me. So customer behavior improvement is
you have
yes,
less than half a minute.
Yes, is a key challenge that can certainly contribute to the success of the utility company. I'm just skipping my. Now let me just introduce my company and my country regarding, this is the organogram of the power divisions of Bangladesh. There are 5 distribution companies and we are DPDC, providing electricity in Dhaka city and adjacent these areas. You know, we have the capacity of generation more than 26,000 megawatt. Then we have already gone through the 100% access of electricity. Under our Prime Minister, the Sheikh Hasina, under his leadership, we have already done, we said, Ghare Ghare Buddhit, that means 100% electricity to everyone. So under her leadership, we are the target 40,000 megawatt in 2030 and 6,000 megawatt in 2041. This is the some mix I have showing to you. One of the big success in our country is that solar home, more than 6 million solar home are working here. In Bangladesh, net metering is working very strictly nowadays. We have a guideline for the net metering principle. You heard some profile of DPDC. Sorry, I don't have time. But I should say in DPDC, we are now transforming DPDC into a digital distribution enterprise, which will actually transform and make the accountability to reduce the cost, increase and profit and efficiency. In this process, we have already transformed, we have already installed a prepaid meter more than 65 lakh, and at the same time, we have already some initiative. We are going to construct an underground substation. As Mr. Manga said, that the GIS is the main issue for the planning and the strategic operation and maintenance. So we have already established the GIS-based planning, and more importantly, the AMI, which is now been a very common word for every utility. So we have already established the AMI, and now we are rolling out the rest of the meters in our utility. And DPDC's future initiative is that as world moves with the digitalization, we as a DISCOM will have to fall in line. We intend to launch the initiative of constructing electric vehicle charging solution, integrating the distributed energy resources, so that finally we can construct an integrated solution in our utility companies. So DPDC has this kind of goal, which is, we say, a specific, measurable and accountable. And lastly, I should say that we have the aim to transform DPDC into a modern and digital distribution utilities. And this is the key point which I actually tried to give you with my presentation. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to present here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Diwan. Thank you so much for not just giving the technology context in the, technology adoption is how it is critical for utilities, but also specifying the case of your own DISCOM, which is the Dhaka Power Distribution Utility Company, and what are the steps that you have already taken to modernize your utility, and your next steps are very, very clear in terms of EV, different distributed energy resources that you would be integrating as part of the utilities. And I'm sure we will hear some more experiences as part of this panel and throughout the WUS, where these experiences would be shared, and hopefully, you would also get some takeaways from here, but I'm sure from your delivery also a lot of takeaways to the audience here. With that, I will invite the next speaker, Mr. R.P. Singh, Senior Vice President, Smart Energy Water, a US company.
Thank you, Apurva. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this panel, and thank you, Elekrama, for giving me this opportunity to talk about the most relevant topic in the today's environment, which is the adoption of the advanced technologies for the utility sector. We all know about these major technologies which are there in the market, but the only thing is that the adoptability has been very poor. What is the prime reason for adoptability being very poor? One is that we're not able to establish the relevance of these technologies in terms of the distribution sector. And why we are not able to establish the relevance? because we need to understand and get deeper into what are the challenges, what the distribution companies are facing these days. So when we move to the next slide, I'll share some of the challenges what the distribution sector is facing. And if we are able to relate these challenges, the relevance of adoption of this technology will become more important. And second is we are not able to analyze the impact these technologies will have on the revenue and profitability of the company. Energy landscape is changing, and it is moving from traditional to renewable source of energy. And we all know the government mandate of 2030 to have 50% of the energy as renewable. And a few minutes back, Sanjay was saying that Tata Power will have only 20% as the traditional source of energy. So when the energy landscape is becoming more diverse, the mix will throw up multiple challenges. So the system will become more complicated and more reasons to have adoption of technology. So when we talk about the business transformation in utilities, there are three key areas which every utility would want to focus on. I would say three KRAs for any utility, why they go in for adoption of the advanced technologies. The first and most important one is operational efficiency. As my co-panelists were saying, that you implement smart meter, you implement smart technologies until and unless you are able to utilize the data from those smart technologies, you are not able, and why do we need the data from these smart technologies is to increase the operational efficiency of the environment. So it's very important very important KRA for any utility is the operational efficiency. And the second one is cost reduction. And the third most important one, and which we all need to understand, is the customer engagement, is the customer satisfaction, which is the most critical one for anybody in the utility sector today. And if you see, most of the advanced technologies we talk about would revolve around these three key KRAs, three key parameters. Whether we talk about smart meter, whether we talk about AMI, we talk about AI, we talk about IoT, blockchain, workforce management, customer experience platform, or we talk about revenue assurance, or we talk about energy accounting. All this will revolve around having these three key KRAs for any utility sector. Now, next, what I wanted to share with you, so when we are moving towards the adoption of this technology, it is very critical for us to understand what are the key, what is the status of DISCOMs in India, and what are the key challenges. So quickly, in next two slides, I will share with you what are the key challenges, and if you are able to address those challenges, how does that benefit the utility? So we all know the focus of government is to have a financially robust power sector. There's a lot of focus has gone on generation and transmission. We have, I would say, adequate power. However, the distribution of that power is not planned in such a way that the power is reliable and the quality of power is good. I think that is where we need to have our next move and next focus on the distribution sector. And distribution sector is the only sector which is the revenue generating arm for the utility sector. And if that doesn't perform and it is at subpar, it affects the entire value chain. And the effect is felt on the financial institution, the effect is felt on the banks, and I think that is the one critical area which we need to address. Primarily, if we see the DISCOM sectors, we can categorize them into two categories. One is the fragile and one is the mature DISCOMs. So certain parameters on which we can categorize them, and we need to see why this slide is important is because we need to see how the fragile distribution companies will move on to the mature distribution companies. So if you see the AT&C losses, as Sanjay was sharing, the AT&C losses is less than 10%, and earlier it was 50%. Now from 50 to 10%, obviously it cannot be done by manual process. It has to use technology. You have to have a network which is automated. You have to have GIS system. You need to have SCADA system. So that's how you can monitor your network, and that's how you can bring down your AT&C losses. So when a distribution sector is moving from fragile to mature, you need to reduce your AT&C losses. You need to increase your power reliability. SEDI has to be less than 60 minutes on an annual basis. That's when the reliability of the power can increase. Technology adoption, network has to be automated. The next point is annual revenue requirement. I think this is a very important point where we all need to see the ARR for any distribution company. 80% of the ARR goes to power purchase agreements. There is a balanced 20%, out of which 14% goes to O&M. And if you are able to focus on that 14%, which is 9% of the cost, which is the people cost, and 3 to 4%, which is on the repair and maintenance.
You have less than.
Sure. So if you are able to focus with the technology on that 14%, I think whatever we are able to generate as a percentage increase in our revenue, 50% goes to utility and 50% is passed on to the customer. So that's how the utilities can benefit by focusing on these key parameters. And last one, where I wanted to end my presentation, is the customer experience platform. This is one of the key areas, and if you see the ease of doing business. So companies which are mature, they have an ease of doing business. They are digitally connected with their customers. They understand the need and preferences of the customers, and they are able to build a personalized environment for a customer. They are able to deliver all kind of a differentiated services what a customer wants. And with the coming of multi-licensing regime, this area becomes far more important for any utility to focus on. So this is, with the shortage of time, I wanted to end my presentation. So if utilities are able to focus on these challenges and prioritize their investment in technologies on the areas where they can increase the revenue of the company, I think that's what the game changer will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. I know 5 minutes, 6 minutes is a very short duration for the depth of experience that we have at this panel, but unfortunately, we have the minister arriving at 11, and that's a a hard stop. But one thing that you clearly pointed out, Mr. Singh, was the three key parameters that the utilities have to look at: operational efficiencies, cost reduction, and at the heart of it, consumer satisfaction. And all the technologies need to satisfy either of these three conditions or key parameters, so that, if they're able to address these three critical areas, then the adoption is a much easier process. So with that, I would now like to invite the next panelist, Sumedh Agarwal, who is the Deputy Chief of Party for the USAID SARIP program. Sumedh.
So good morning and namaste to everyone. Thank you, Apurva, and it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to the WS organizing committee. I represent USAID South Asia Regional Energy Partnership Program, which is working closely with state distribution utilities in India and the region, supporting the efforts on utility modernization. Advanced technology infusion is not a new concept, and Mr. Banga and my fellow speakers beautifully talked about how it should be embraced, and then we had some great insights. I will very briefly touch upon the conundrum which utilities in general is facing when they embark upon new technology adoption. So there are basically two pieces, two conundrums. One is how to manage cost, and second is protect here profit margins. This discussion becomes more important in Indian context when state utilities are cash-strapped, but do wish to take a next big leap towards digital transformation. I do feel that in such situations, we need to do more with less and achieve our goals within limited means. Innovative fix, or kind of art of creative improvisation, in Hindi we say as jugaad, is something which can lead to very ingenious disruptive transformations. So to understand more, let us ask few questions to ourselves. Say first question is, do we need to really spend money installing sensors across all the utility network? So the clear answer is no. Sensors may be justified, but for critical equipments, not for the entire across the board. Do we need big data? No. Companies often assume that they need massive amounts of data from anywhere which they can get it. That's not a necessary start. But you definitely need some available data, plus few other types of data that you may not be readily having available in-house, for example, weather forecasts. Can we get a plug-and-play solution? Answer is no. Each utility needs at least a semi-tailored approach that fits its starting position, performance level, and aspirations, while rapidly going for an implementation. Another question is, can we do the advanced technology implementation gradually? Yes, most of the utilities start with certain priority use cases, move on to explore other assets types, and then extend the pilot to have for the entire geographic footprint. What results can we expect with advanced technology deployment? Well, we have best-in-class utilities right now in this panel, and their loss trajectories are itself self-explanatory. So with lot of conviction, I can say that there are 3 priority use cases which compulsively utilities should invest in short term to reap the maximum benefit. The first use case is how power purchase cost can be reduced, which covers around 70 to 80% of the distribution business. Focusing on equipping utilities with advanced software solutions that can help in having a more granular demand forecast, as well as load profile based resource plans, is something utilities should invest.
Sumit, you have less than a minute now.
Sure. This will help utilities to capture benefits of low-cost renewables and grapple with RE-dominated portfolio. Number 2 is operational performance, which is around 90 to 95% of the capex. If we focus on analyzing the data which is we getting from the smart meters and network planning, which Banga sir alluded, of DTs, as well as having a health monitoring of DTs, is something which will definitely support. And finally, enhancing the customer experience so that they can feel delighted. I mean, let us have some solutions which focus on reducing customer bills. I mean, power purchase cost, if you are able to save that, can we translate it to reducing the customer bills? And also having transparent communications with customers where you have outages, SAIDI, SAIFI, which you can try to curb upon. So utilities that drive digitization through these use cases see a typical yearly savings of around 10 to 20% of capex and 20 to 30% of opex, making it a gift that keeps on giving if implemented correctly. So I would like to conclude by mentioning that smart technologies require smarter people to generate smartest results. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sumit. We have the minister coming in like less than 10 minutes, so I'll request Mr. Thorsten Korner, Head of Electricity, Gas and Carbon Trading, Germany, to please give your remarks.
Good morning from my side. In my presentation, I will concentrate on our experience in the business transformation process. And I will tell you shortly what are the results and what are the challenges of the future. Leipzig Municipal Community, our company was faced several phases of transformation process. After the refoundation, we have invested more than 1 billion Deutschmarks on the electric grid, on the power plants, on the national gas network, and so on. We have used the opportunities offered by liberalization at early stage and set up a trading department, and we trade on the stocks at exchange and without more than 100 over-the-counter partners. This enables us not only to reduce purchasing costs, but also to increase turnover and profits. Planning, construction, and operation and marketing of electricity from wind, solar, and biomass plants are now a new profitable business sector of our company. "15 years ago, the power supply of Germany was carried out with about 400 power plants. With the expansion of wind and photovoltaic systems, we have now more than 2 million electricity generators in Germany, for example, wind and photovoltaics. In order that was an increasing need for flexibility and digitalizations to allow us efficiency, security of supply. This also opened us a lot of new business areas. I'm the head of a trading department, and so I have show you a figure about the prices. You can see here on this slide the European power exchange base and peak future prices since 1996. On the left-hand side, you can see after the introduction of competition, prices fell sharply in phase 2. After that, there was for many years a relatively stable forward price, which tended to fall until 2017. The exception was a global banking crisis in 2008, and now the Ukraine war, which increased the prices very, very high. Assumption for security supply, it's a balance between power generation and power consumption. At all times, about the trading department, all 15 minutes. This business idea of capacity management is to bundle as many flexible power generators as possible on one platform, to control them and to market them optimally. And in the next 2 slides, I have listed for your documents certain experience of products, technologies, and energy services around the customer electricity metering points. In essential, it's a market integration, control, and operating of different flexible technologies such as solar, heat, wind, heat pumps, batteries, and energy management systems. Assumption is a functional capacity management. Allow me to introduce you a new product in Germany. It's called PPA. PPA stands for Power Purchase Agreements. For long contracts between a buyer.
Mr. Thurston, you have less than a minute, sir.
Yeah, I will follow. For example, our company and sellers. This off-takes guarantees to the sellers for a fixed price for electricity over 10 to 15 years. And another business is the midstream business. Midstream, the idea is there is an increased demand from the industry and wholesale supermarket for real green electricity. Midstream means that the renewable energy is bought by the upstreams and selling to the downstreams directly. Since a load balance of generation does not match the load profile of the customer, the residential loads are structured via the midstream trading department. And at the last slide, you can see an overview about the mega trend green energy in Europe and the mega trends digitalization, decentralization, and decarbonization. So my time is over, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thurston. With this, I would like to invite the last speaker, Mr. Gopal Naria, who is the Vice President, Automation from BRPL. Mr. Naria, you will have exactly 5 minutes. Sorry, the minister is about to arrive.
Good morning. Thank you very much for giving a chance to us to share our journey so far, the challenge and the new initiative is being taken by BSES Rajdhani Power Limited in Delhi. So without taking much time, I will just run through. I am going to cover briefly power sector overview so far, dynamics in power sector, very briefly about BSES Rajdhani Power Limited journey so far, technology journey, utility transition philosophy that we are adopting so far and way forward. This is the overall dynamic. Briefly summarize the overall the power sector generation side, transmission and distribution utility. Very basic purpose of sharing this was basically the distribution utility is standing as a first block of entire value chain. There is a massive investment, but so far the transition that needs in distribution sector is a minimal on basic capacity building. Now digital technology adoption is the most essential tools that is going to give us some opportunity in solving the challenges that is coming in the way. The new dynamic that is going to influence influx of renewable generation, increase in electrical vehicle, shift in consumer behavior, increased threat of cyber attacks, fuel price, availability and other part, weather and other natural disaster. These are the basic tailwind drive that is driving the change in distribution utility. That's why I just briefly showed. This is about BSES Rajdhani Power, 691 square kilometer area being scattered, 28 lakh consumer. Our peak was 3,389, 11,000 million unit, and today's loss is around 7.6% ATN's loss. We begin with 51.5%. Today we are at 7.7. Peak demand when we begin was 1265, today 33,800, and the recent data where being the Ministry of Power working for Delhi is, for Delhi today overall peak is 7,600, but by 2047 this peak is expected to be around 30,000 megawatt. So that's altogether is a different type of challenge we are going to face, and we have to sort it out some way. This was our technology journey so far. There are many mature technology we are using since last 20 years. The first and most important where we today most of the discussion and session covers is smart meter. But we are the only utility where we have a digitally downloaded data since last 20 years. And today, this journey, so far we have tried so many solutions, and today we are focusing mainly on new upcoming technology area, BSES battery energy storage, smart metering, drone and predictive maintenance tool, e-mobility, charging, BMS, ADR, smart home, like that. Various initiatives so far, we have installed so far 106 megawatt renewable capacity, rooftop solar. We have a complete solution catering all the area, particularly to promote the rooftop solar initiative. We have a dedicated solar city portal, urban microgrid project, virtual outreach program with RWA, solar agriculture pump initiative. That was up to only at a pilot level. In e-mobility, we have a e-mobility portal, easing connection portal. We are providing all required information to consumer so that they can plan and check the technical feasibility. We have a separate portal for private charging, electrical management, energy efficiency programs. We have run energy efficiency Ujjwala program, and it was the first of its kind when we began, the government of India began the national-wide mission. We were the first to implement this part. Then Energy Rise, Energy Wise program that covers basically a young mind school students, teachers, and that community just to plant the basic seed at the grassroots level so that they understand the need of energy efficiency in that part. For improving energy efficiency, BRPL has also run the two schemes. One is AC replacement and efficient fan replacement scheme with a proper disposal of the old equipment so that it won't come back in the system again. This was our journey for loss reduction. There were so many different technical initiatives and commercial drive. Initial phase, it was mainly focused on the capacity building and long-hanging fruit, but subsequently the main initiative was focused on data analytics and a focused drive for reduction, but the journey now onwards will be totally a digital technology-based solution. In the network building capacity, we are in place in Delhi, and Delhi has a one major challenge in availability of space. Just to solve that space, we have tried so many different solutions, and now we are.
Your time is now up, so if you could just
Sure, ma'am. This is about battery energy storage system. Demand response, this is one of the focus area where we are working to utilize any solution available. Digital twin, we are also working with DREAMS and UNEP. We are also participating in digital twin through UNEP program. These are the various solutions we have so far deployed in technology. For any future technology-driven utility, these are the four basic pillars where we are focusing: green energy and decarbonization, digitization and technology, customer engagement and organization culture. Because most of the technology will provide us a data, but unless we build our own capacity to understand that data and utilize the data, the solution will not give us a desired outcome. For example, even the smart meter we are focusing as a solution for loss reduction is a smart meter, but the smart meter will give us only a real-time data of a consumer power consumption. There will be a little bit insight in the loss of particular consumer, but there will be a lot of other initiative that will required by the human resource engaged in this distribution segment. This is all where we are focused in migration from traditional energy source to the green energy source. Digitization and technology, basically we are covering all five Purdue models zones, starting from consumer home to the LT distribution network, substation, HT network and grid digitization. So we have taken so many different pilots so far to study the available technology, but all this technology has certain limitations. So what we are focusing is to modify the existing available solution, or not modify, we can say customize, so that we can bring into a natural intelligence along with the opportunity for artificial intelligence. So many different initiatives in organization cultural level so that we can adopt digital solution at its optimal level. Future technology adoption, mainly ADMS in distribution operational efficiency optimization, where, as rightly said, the change management challenge.
Now.
Yeah, no problem, ma'am. So dumps, EV solar, all this area, all this spectrum, we are trying to find out some solution. Network building and other cyber security challenges are there. There are two more. I will just take little bit time. For any utility like working in Delhi Metro, the most solution will depend on the utility, the space constraint and other solutions. So we are also advocating a separate utility for utility duct, where it can cater to electrical utility, water utility, gas utility, fiber and all other utilities, so that a really true sense smart city can be built. OFC will be a key driver or key need for all the technological solution. Briefly, going forward, most important what we feel is all the stakeholder has to work with open minds. Unless we work with open mind, the available solution may not be suitable and it won't give us a required and desired results. With this, thank you. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, panelists. So I now request our chairman, WS, to hand over mementos to our moderator and panelists and speakers. Ms. Apurva Chaturvedi. Mr. Ajay Rawat. Mr. Thorsten. Mr. Sanjay Banga, our keynote. Mr. Vikas Diwan. Mr. R.P. Singh. Sir, did you? And Mr. Sumed. We have an announcement. Honorable Minister for Commerce, Mr. Piyush Goyal, is here with us. He will be joining us. So we request all of you to be a part of this session and please be seated. Thank you. We will have a group photograph, ma'am.